Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Hands-on SAP Dev, another episode with me, DJ Qmacro. So it's a lovely morning. I'd like to say that I got my coffee with me and my biscuits as normal, but I'm going for my annual health assessment, and like an idiot, I booked it for this afternoon, which means that I'm not allowed to eat or drink anything now. I had some breakfast earlier this morning, but no coffee now, no food, no nothing, just water for the next 8 hours. So there we go. What a fool I am. Anyway, welcome to Proto, to Lars, welcome Burak again, and Santiago. Good morning. Hindustan, hi there. Good morning to you too. Happy planetary rotation state. I like that. Happy planetary rotation state. Could you shorten that into some sort of abbreviation? PRS. Happy PRS. HPRS. Really glad that you could join me. This is going to be another one of those sort of slightly less focused, more relaxed, possibly more chatty, I hope more chatty episodes. I am going to work through another issue. Also, actually, one of yours, Burak, the one we briefly touched on last week. And I'm hoping, if I remember rightly, to be able to use that issue to explore with you and to learn with you a little bit more about, or get a better feel for, what the heck is going on generally when you deploy something to Kyma. Okay, so Gary, good morning. Good morning. No run this morning because, first of all, I thought I'd need some more fuel after my run, and I'm not allowed to eat for my fasting before my health assessment. And secondly, I had an accident last Saturday, and my lower leg is all bashed up. I won't show you on video because it's like it would be, not advisable. But it's black and yellow and blue and swollen. I did run on it a couple of times this week, but I think that made it worse rather than better. No run this morning, Gary. How about you? I was thinking about where we bumped into each other on our runs. Was it a few months ago now in the centre of Manchester in Spinningfields, wasn't it? Amazing, a small world. The SAP world is a small world, isn't it? Anyway, let's get started. Let's go to the main scene. In fact, let me go to Qmacro. In fact, let's look at the issue is on the SAP-samples edition, isn't it? In there, we've got this issue. This is what we're going to look at. This is from Igisileus. Burak, can you tell us if you want? If you don't want, also that's so cool. But the GitHub username Igisileus, where did that come from? I'm curious. Being a classics scholar, I read ancient Greek and Latin at university. That, Igisileus says something to me, but I'm just wondering whether it has the same root in your mind as well, or whether it's something completely different I'm misunderstanding. I would love to know, so let me know. So anyway, this is what we're going to start with looking at today. Kyma brain component deployment error. Okay. In fact, before we get going with this, there's been some really, really interesting threads on Twitter. I think it was Custodio, the wonderful Custodio, started it off yesterday about comments in code. Oh, that's right. He quoted Alistair Templeton, another awesome, everybody's awesome, right? Another awesome person, about comments in code and whether they're useful or not, and all that sort of thing. So really, really interesting debate, and the debate has sort of bifurcated, split into two a little bit. I mean, they're still running in parallel, as the efficacy, the usefulness of comments in general and what they're for, and it should be more maybe for the why you're doing something rather than what it does. But also, there's also another part of that debate which is about writing clear code, writing code that's easy to understand. And of course, that is also very subjective and dependent on the level of expertise of the reader, but also it depends on the paradigms that the reader is familiar with. Somebody who's very familiar with object orientation, for example, may struggle a little with something written using the functional programming paradigm, and vice versa. So I think there's a little bit more to it than just make code easy to read. Okay, I mean, APL code. To some people, APL code is super easy to read and far easier to read than any sort of procedural code, because you just look at it and you know exactly what it does. But anyway, so let me know what you think. Helmut, good morning. Good morning to Helmut in Hanover. Interesting debate, and you were right. We mix up to. Well, I mean, it's a very wide topic, isn't it? And I don't think you can talk about one without talking about the other. But I think it is important to realise that there are multiple complected threads in this conversation. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, have a look at the thread. Helmut's made some great points on the thread as well. So kudos to you, Helmut. So yeah, that's that. So anybody's got any comments and thoughts about code and code commenting? Let's talk about that as well. This is completely open. This is for us to have a conversation, not me to talk at you, although I'll be doing a lot of talking, obviously, because that's what I do, isn't it? Anyway, so let's have a look. This is, and again, I've not looked at this since last Friday. This is the other issue that Burak put in there. Where I try to deploy my brain Docker image from GitHub Actions, I'm getting this error. And the error, I don't think this is the error. This is like just some logs, right? So let's have a look at that one. Then I tried to, I'm not sure. Oh, what was the error? Oh, here we go. Yeah, error. Back off restarting. Can you see that, by the way? Container image eu.gcr. Oh, Istio started Istio proxy, started container brain, and then we got a back off restarting failed container. Okay. Restarting failed container. So the container starts up, but then inside the container there's an error. So of course, Kyma Kubernetes will restart it. I think the successfully pulled. Yeah, okay. So I think these are obviously in slightly confusing order, but that's that. But then I think this is possibly more. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be moving around a lot because my leg is really giving me jib. So I've got it elevated under the desk, but there's not enough room really, so it's a bit tangled up. This one here. kubectl, so Agesilaus is looking at the logs in the default namespace for that particular pod, the brain pod. This is something that I've suddenly started noticing. Using deprecated annotation default logs container, please use default container instead. I did look that up briefly this morning, and that's some sort of enhancement to Kubernetes that is going on, obviously, somewhere available already to us. But I'm going to ignore that for now because I don't think it's relevant for us. And you can see the result of the container starting up. And can anybody tell me where this CDS run -- in memory is coming from? Does anybody know? So Helmut, by the way, says commenting code is always a huge discussion in projects and with devs. Yeah, it is, and sort of rightly so. I mean, it's one of those sort of long-lived, eternal debates, isn't it? Alongside other long-lived, eternal debates like, one's choice of editor environment and, whether you are for or against a certain programming paradigm, for example. And all these things are, at one level, I think, can be frustrating and can be, can be a source of angst. But on the other hand, I think debate like this makes you think, right? And may also, it certainly teaches me things if I have to think about things and then go and look something up to, have a look at what somebody's said. So I think, debate, healthy debate is great. And there's no single side to the whole thing. Oh, okay. So yes. So Burak, thank you for telling me. Yeah, I mean, this is what I didn't want to mention where I thought the name came from, but yeah, exactly. He was king of Sparta, wasn't he? Agesilaus. I remember him in stories when we used to read ancient Greek. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for confirming, Burak. He was your high school nickname. Oh, sorry, Agisalis was your high school nickname. Sorry, I missed that first comment. Brilliant. That's so good. Okay, so the CDS run in memory starts up. So it starts the CAP project. We can see the models loaded. We can see that it's connected to SQLite. And we can see that it's connected to the in-memory version of the database because we've got that dash in-memory there. But then we get this error. No messaging credentials found. You need to bind your app to an enterprise messaging service or provide the necessary credentials through environment variables. Right, bang, done. So what's that all about? Although I was able to activate the enterprise messaging credential locally, I could not activate it for Docker image. Now, Marius said very correctly, I think, and this is what I think is at the heart of this problem. The error message says that the credentials are missing. There, no messaging credentials found. I guess this means you didn't include them in the env var of the Docker image or a linked Kubernetes configmap or secret. Now, I think Marius is correct. He usually is correct, right? Marius is awesome. Did anybody see Marius's talk this week at UI5Con? Let me know. But anyway, yes, I think Marius is correct. But why don't we use this issue and Marius's comment to dig in a little bit more and get our brains around what is going on when we deploy something to Kyma. Okay. So yeah, let's do that. So I have recloned, just to clear things out from last Friday. I've got here, in fact, I'll just open up another window. I've got here my clone. Ooh. There. Okay, I just cloned it this morning. So we had a fresh start. I'm not even sure. Oh, no, I cloned it yesterday. That's right. I cloned it yesterday and I built a Docker image just to make sure that the GitHub actions are working. That's right. Just so I didn't mess around this morning. So I've got that. However, have I got any packages? I don't think I've got any packages. We've still got a couple from last Friday. We've still got the converter service and the S4HANA mock, the proxy service. But I've got rid of them because I deleted them. I deleted the repository and the packages that are associated with the repository. So we've got no packages, right? So we're sort of not flying naked. Where does that phrase come? I have no idea why I thought that. Flying naked? No, because I was watching on the running channel last night on YouTube, running naked, as in running without your watch to know what time it was, what your pace was. So we are flying without anything underneath us, i.e., if we go into my trial account here, and let's look at it from a nice Kyma dashboard perspective. Marius's talk and his open source code, open source generator, are awesome. I agree, Helmut. Go to dashboard. I agree. So there, okay, we've got the two namespaces. That namespace is the namespace that we created last Friday when we went through Marius's tutorial. This is like all about Marius today. It's fantastic. It's like a Marius fan club, which is good because he needs to have one. So there's the QMacro namespace that we created as part of the going through that tutorial that Marius wrote about creating a service account. But here's the default namespace, and we've got two deployments. Okay, we've got the deployment for the S4 mock service, the thing that sits in front of the API hub, and we got the deployment for the calculation service. So this is the thing that turns net amounts into credits. This is the Go code that Kevin came on to talk to us about. Okay, and each of those services, each of those deployments got replica set each, and those are the pods. Okay, so we've got those, and we've also got, of course, associated with those services, we've got the calc service, associated with those deployments, we've got the calc service and the S4 mock service. And to expose these services to the interwebs, to us, to ourselves, we've got the API rules, okay? So one thing that I think is one of the many differences between Kyma, Kubernetes, and Cloud Foundry is that Kubernetes is more capable of doing different things, but it's also more complex because it's broken down into smaller pieces. Okay, so we're looking at the smaller pieces here. And so we need an API rule connected to a service that's connected to etc., right? So if we look at this calc service, we can see there's the calc service. I think last week we tried, this conversion sales amount. There we go, that's that. And if we look at the S4 mock service, that defaults to and redirects to the API sales order service document, OData service document. So we've got those services running. And we've also got, I think still, two destinations, one for each of those two things, pointing to those API rule endpoints. So we've got those. So what we'll do, greetings, Andrew. Greetings, Andrew. Welcome. Welcome indeed to this relaxed open working thing again. I'm not sure whether I suppose I am openly working. I'm working through these things, but I'm also talking a lot. And of course, when I normally work, I don't talk at all because I'm on my own. So, let me know if this is, it's quite warm it is. Let me know if this is useful. So yeah, let's do this. Let us build the brain image, go through the deployments to deploy it to Kyma, and have a look what we're doing as we do that. And I think what, shall I call you Barak or shall I call you Agesileus? What Barak encountered, we'll see if we can sort of see why that might have happened. Maybe we'll also try and emulate what happened. And we'll also sort of meditate on what Marius said as well. So if we go to our repository, my repository that I've cloned, TechEd 2020 Developer Keynote, let's go into Actions. And I will build and publish that Docker image again because I want to deploy it because we haven't got it. So I'm going to run that. Build and publish Docker image. We've done this before, so I'm not going to go through the, not going to read the instructions through you. And luckily, because, Chrome will remember this for me, or Brave as well. Brave's Chrome underneath, right? We want the cap brain. That's where the cap brain lives. And that actually is, we're in here. That's here, right? I've got this clone. I've got my fork cloned locally. QMacro TechEd 2020 Developer Keynote. And we've got all this stuff in here. I've just recloned the fork, so there's no default-env.json here. So we've got the default-env generator, which we fixed together last week. So maybe we'll not generate a default-env.json for now and see what happens. Okay. So cap brain, name for the package, brain, and it's in that directory, right? Not any further directory. So let's run that workflow. Can anybody remember and tell me in the chat what the default-env.json is, what it contains, what it's for? By the way, Andrew, you missed the first part where I was saying that I'm on a fast because I've got my health assessment this afternoon. So all I've got now is water. It's doing my head in. I mean, light water, but not having a coffee to enjoy while I wait for something to run is feels a little bit interesting. I did have 2 coffees at 6 a.m. this morning just to make up for the fact that I wouldn't be having any other coffees until my health assessment. Anyway, rambling. DJ, shut up. Okay, so let's have a look what we're going to do. Let's go to the Kyma brain component deployment. Let's go to the documentation. Okay, let's go to the brain and have a look. By the way, one of the things I want to do, maybe later, maybe offline, recently, since I did these sort of content links here, which I'm doing manually, GitHub has introduced in Markdown files this little thing there, which will take the headings, which we've defined with the hashes, top level heading, 2 hashes, second level heading, 3 hashes, etc., right? And put them in there. So we don't need this, so I might actually remove these content things. Anyway, the brain, if we have a look at this content thing here, where are we? There. We'll go down to running it on SAP Cloud Platform. Okay, well done to making it this far in the README. And I've just noticed that Burak, Santiago, and Andrew, Burak and Santiago have said, yes, exactly. Both are correct. What a brilliant combination of answers. Service bindings and authentications. Exactly. And Santiago says to connect to our services on SCP. SCP, we'll let you off saying SCP, Santiago. Of course, yes, we all know what SAP is on the business technology platform. But yes, exactly. That's exactly what it is. Sorry, I'm just going to move my leg here. Oh, God. You really don't want to see my leg. Oh, right. So has that built? Has that finished? Yes, it has. Build and publish Docker image. Let's have a quick look to see what that did. Build image for brain, for cat brain from there. Push the image to GitHub package registry. Now that's another thing that I also want to have a look at, which is, maybe if we get to it, which is a pull request from Marius. I mean, this is the Marius show, really. From Marius, change default images. Okay, which he did very nicely. It's all about the move from the current Docker section of the GitHub package registry to a more general and also more capable container registry that GitHub has got in beta called the GitHub Container Registry, GHCR. And the difference there is that you don't need to credentialize yourself if you want to just pull a public package, pull a public image. You can actually do it anonymously. So that'll be quite nice. So that's that, but we'll look at that shortly. Where were we? Oh yeah, cat brain. Here we go. Cat brain on SAP Cloud Platform. So we've done that. We've built that thing, and now we should have pushed the image. It's pushed. We should have now in QMacro packages, even though it's associated with the repository. There it is, brain, published 3 minutes ago. Okay, so we've got that. Now, what do we need to do next? Build and publish secrets and deployment. Okay, so this thing here is really the generic set of instructions. Did Santiago, ouch, BTP. No worries, Santiago. I still say SCP sometimes. It's no big deal at all, of course. Andrew says, Sharda, I'm enjoying a Hefeweizen. Oh, it's interesting. Sorry, I'm going to move my leg again. It's giving me jip. Yes, located in Australia. So what we want to do is build Docker image. We've done that. Publish the image to a container registry. We've done that just now as well. And create a Kubernetes secret for registry access. Now we've probably got that secret already. And then make a deployment to Kyma. Now, what do I mean by we've got a secret already? If I say Kubernetes get secrets, we can see that 21 hours ago, I think I did this. I was messing around, did this earlier. Something related to this, but something else. Reg cred, right? We've got this registry credentials. Now, if we have a look at that, kubectl get secret reg cred. I was going to look at a bit more detail, but in fact, can we do this? YAML? I'm not sure. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to go here a minute, just in case. Docker config JSON, secret. Oh, that's all right. Yeah, data docker config JSON. I think. Yeah, there we go. So there's I've just chopped a little bit off. Docker config JSON. and the creation time and date, default, blah, 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 secret, it's registered. So there we go. So it's a secret and it already exists and it has Docker gets Kubernetes, blah, blah, gets secrets, and it's got the credentials for the package registry on GitHub so that Kyma can pull that image. Okay. Erdinger Weißbier. Oh, there we go. That's where's that come from? Yes, interesting. That's an advert I seem to remember. Anyway, sorry, I've been completely distracted. What are we doing? Oh yes, okay. So yeah, let's read this. So build a Docker image for the component, publish image, create a secret for registry access. So this is so that the Kubernetes can pull that Docker image. Because, like I said just earlier, we need to credentialize ourselves to even pull a public image from the GitHub package registry, okay? And then make a deployment to Kyma. So let's go all the way through that. We've done that. We've built that thing. There we go. So now we've got this little K command here. So make a deployment. So we're going to do it. We've done the secret. We don't need to do another secret. So we'll make a deployment, okay? So let's look what this deployment does. Okay, so VI, let's look at K. There we go, K, there's the make a deployment. There we go. So if we run, this is how it works, right? We've got the main, we pass all the variables to the main, and then we work out what's being asked for, whether we say a K deploy or K secret, K config map, and then we call the deploy function there. Okay, so the deploy function is dead small. Okay, all it does is make sure we've specified a user and a repository, and then changes the value of the fixed string owner to the user, changes the value of the fixed string repository to the repository that's been specified in the deployment.yaml file, and then applies that file to the namespace, which is the default namespace, right? That's there. Declare namespace equals default. Okay, and that's all it does. Now, let's have a look at the. Sorry. See, I need more coffee. Still secret screens. Thank you, Barack. Thank you, Samueli. Thank you. Sorry about that. Do you have DJ's number to call him? Oh God. Oh dear. I'm going too fast for my own good. So he's tried a direct message. Oh, Andrew, thank you very much. Ring him. Yes, ring me. I should put my number on the live stream, shouldn't I? So he goes, DJ, you fool, go back, come back from secret screen. Let me stop and slow down. Seems to be an SAP virus this week. Happened at UI5Con a few times. Oh, what? So people went on some sort of non-visible screen and then didn't come back, forgot to come back. That's fun. Anyway, what I was saying was that when we run the k deploy, which is described here, /k, and specify a user and specify a repo name, deploy. It is Friday after all. Thank you, Santiago. Yes. So what happens is we get this little message deploying to Kubernetes, and then we get this thing here, configmap, deployment, service, and API rule. So what is that all about? Well, that all comes from the deployment file. I should look down here more often, shouldn't I? And the deployment file, it's the Garmin effect. It is the Garmin effect. I've not been running, so yeah. Let's have a look at the deployment file, shall we? Deployment, there we go. Now, I don't know about you, but this deployment file is quite large, and in order to understand this, I've wanted to break it down a little bit. Okay, so how many lines is this? We've got 66 lines in this deployment file. Samuel is saying run at 3:10. My health assessment is at 3. So yeah, as soon as the health assessment's finished, I'm off for a run. I think I'm going to have to do that. Yeah, I don't know. Does anybody else have this where, you know, if you don't do your regular exercise, you get a little bit sort of, anyway. So what I'm going to do, tell me if you do this as well. I get slightly overwhelmed with what's in this deployment.yaml file. So let's break it down. Let's break it down into, well, let's just see deployment.yaml. Let's see if we can, first of all, see the pattern. We've got this kind here. Let's look at kind. That seems to be a pattern that appears a number of times. So we've got kind deployment down here as well, kind service, and kind API rule. Deployment, service, API rule. Deployment, service, API rule. And that corresponds to deployments, services, API rules. And it also corresponds in my brain to deployment, service, API rule. I'm not sure where this, I think this configmap thing here is probably my fault. When I wrote this documentation page, I had an earlier version of the K thing, so that shouldn't be there because it doesn't, the deployment doesn't contain a config map. Okay, so let's just understand what's going on. I will therefore break this file down into three. Hold on, man C split. I seem to remember split files based on context. I've used this before. Let's have fun and just learn something about a command line tool. Prefix, do not remove output. So I think I can C split. What was it again? Sorry. Prefix. Yeah, there we go. C split. F prefix will say Kubernetes dash or underscore. Deployment.yaml, and then we'll have a pattern of these dashes. Now, there's three dashes in there, wasn't there? The thing is, the dashes basically separate the different sections. We've got the kind service straight after the dash, and we've got the kind API rule straight after the dash. And if you look in the YAML specification, these three dashes on a line on their own represent the start of a new YAML. Well, obviously it's not the word file is not entirely appropriate because we've got three in one file, but a new YAML thing, section, lump, stanza. Okay, so I'm going to split on those things. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I do remember this. If we don't get that last thing, well, I think we can say minus S, minus, what was it? Do not remove output files, minus K. There we go. Right, we get the no match, but it's going to work. So if we now have a look, we've got K001, 2, and 3. Did that work? It did. It sort of worked, didn't it? K001, let's change that. Let's change the original deployment file to, let's call that original YAML. And now let's call that deployment.yaml. In fact, I'm going to call it K deployment.yaml so that they're all in the same area, right? Rename that to K service.yaml and call that K API rule.yaml. Now, doing this, we've got three files. We've got the original, right? In fact, let's just rename the K original, right? So let's say K original YAML. So they're all together, right? Now we've got the original, which has got a ton of stuff, and this is the way my brain tries to comprehend things, right? And I'll split things down. And now we've got the deployment. Let's make that a little bit smaller so we can see that actually we'll zoom back in again in a second. So we can see that that's all that's in the k deployment YAML. So we've got that nice little YAML stand, let's call it a stanza, that just describes something that's of kind deployment, right? Which makes sense. I mean, having multiple things in a file called deployment.yaml, and this is probably my fault, is not ideal from an understanding perspective. So there's the deployment file. Let's have a look at the service file. That's even smaller. Now, I've no idea why that split has left that dash in, but we'll edit them in a minute. So there's the service. And then look at the API rule. There's the API rule. Okay. So let's just meditate on these and let's do everything manually. So in here, we've got kind deployment. We've got a name for it. And then we've got the specification, right? So this is saying here, this is a deployment and I want you to pull a container. I want you to create a container, and the image upon which that container is based is this one, docker.package.github.com/owner/repository/brain latest tag. Okay. Now, clearly we might as well change these now. We'll do everything manually. So let's just change these now because we need to make this reflect the image that's in my, and in your case, package area. So there's brain there. So that will be docker.package.github.com q macro Techer 2020 developer keynote brain. Okay, so let's go back here and change that to q macro TechEd 2020 developer keynote. Okay. So in image pull policy always. Now that probably don't need that, but let's just leave that for now. The port upon which the port that's important is 4004. Of course, that's the standard CAP port. So that's where stuff is going to be listening. We've got some resource limits. We've got this env from. Now this goes back, I think, to what Marius was saying. Configmap ref, app config cap. Does anybody know what that is? Think about it and let me know in the chat. This is, again, another bit of meditation. And then we've got this image pull secrets. Okay, so this part here, image pull secrets, of course, belongs to the, where is it? Where's image pull secrets? That there is at position 7 there. That's there. So we've got containers, and this is basically how it's telling Kyma how to get credentials, if credentials are needed, to pull that image if the remote registry requires authentication. Okay, and that's this reg cred secret. Okay, that's this thing here. kubectl get secret. Come on, hello. There we go, reg cred. And that, where is it? That is the thing that we created, and we did this last week. A reg cred secret, which contains GitHub credentials. In my case, my GitHub credentials. In your case, your GitHub credentials. Okay, so that's that. Notice that there's some weird bars in my gutter here on the left-hand side, those two yellow dash things there. I can jump between those, I think, with tap, 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 tap. So you can see the error at the bottom. Indentation, wrong indentation, expected 8 but found 10. And also empty lines, too many blank lines. I've got in fact, if we have a look, I've got a YAML linter. I think we looked at this briefly last week, but that is where these messages are coming from. I mentioned this thing over here is the gutter. It's actually called the sign column. And I always want the sign column there, so I'm not bumping left and right as things are okay or not okay. So this is YAML lint. So I would recommend YAML lint to anybody who's writing YAML, because it just makes you feel a little bit more comfortable in terms of, you know, what's going on with YAML. So let's kill that. This basically says, and this is again, I'm ultimately responsible for most of the content in this repository. You know, I didn't write it all, of course, but, you know, I took responsibility, and so it's my fault that this is badly formatted. So what really should have here is that. There we go. That should be there. And finally, when I've got, in fact, there. Yeah, okay. So I've got in, I think this is the same in VS Code and Sublime Text and Atom and all, you know, and of course, especially Vim. There's a concept of a linter, which will tell you about things that are wrong. And there's a concept of a fixer, which will fix things for you that are wrong. And wrong, you know, depending on what you define wrong to be. And there's a generic fix that I'm using in my editor that will trim white space and remove trailing lines. So that's why when I saved, it removed this line. So if I say some more lines here, down here, okay, and it's saying too many blank lines, but if I save it, it removes those blank lines and that error goes away. So that's what that is. So we've got the, what is it? This deployment, the K deployment. Let's have a look at the API rule. The API, well, no, let's have a look at the service first, because that's, you know, sort of in my brain, in between the deployment and the pods and the API rule. It's the service. You know, the service sort of describes something that should be accessible. Okay, and this service has a name, Brain. Well, the labels here as well. I mean, we over here. Always wonder, there was service there. We've got these labels here. I'm not really sure, to be honest, what these labels are useful for, apart from maybe reporting and, you know, trying to find things, sort and sift things through if you've got a ton of services. So maybe we can leave that label out just as an experiment. I don't know. And we've got the specification, which is the more important part of this thing here. So this is basically saying this service runs on port 4004. It's an HTTP service, and we want to map it to 4004 as well. Okay, and it points to the app Brain. Okay, so let's get rid of that stuff there. That's fine. And finally, we've got the API rule, which we've just looked at. In fact, before I go in there, it's annoying me now that this one doesn't start with triple dash, so it's better, much better. There we go. So it's the API rule. So this exposes the service to consumers and allows them to consume it. Okay, so that is this thing here. So the API rule, for example, S4 mock exposes this service here, and there we go, S4 mock, that it points to that host, so we can go there. There we go, fine. In fact, theoretically, API rule, create API rule. Let's have another one. Let's call it banana. Banana. Point it to, what should we point it to? S4 mock. Mock banana. Let's call it mock banana. Yeah, okay. Access strategies allow access to all paths. Great. Now we've got a new exposed, fully qualified domain name. That works as well. That's cool. mockbanana.c681fdc3, etc., etc., etc. That's cool. Nice. Let's delete that again. Mock banana, delete. Can we, Andrew says, can we include these small YAML into the large YAML file? Yes. Oh, are you talking about the K-dash YAML files that I've just created? Because I've just created those by splitting off the large one into the smaller ones. In fact, so the answer is yes, because that's where they came from in the first place, unless I've misunderstood your question. So maybe ask your question in a slightly different way so my poor brain can understand. This one here, too few spaces after comma. Okay, let's just fix that then. Let's go for searching a comma and adding one of those, and there. Okay, that's fixed. Okay, so this YAML definition is sort of what we did just now in the GUI. Okay, so let's apply this YAML and see what happens in the GUI. Okay, see what we look at. Now, Andrew, to answer your question, what we should possibly do, let me know if this is a good idea, is deploy these things individually, but then cat them all together and do it again. Should we do that? And I'm also deliberately going back to Burak's issue. I'm deliberately not doing anything with the configmap. I'm not doing anything with the default-env.json, which we don't have here. Okay, I'm just going to move this footstool out of the way. There we go. So that we might come across some errors. Okay, we want to cause some errors so we can figure out. Akin to an include, a YAML file that refers to another YAML file. Ooh, I know that you can include. So now, I know that in YAML you can refer to places elsewhere in the same YAML file, like a pointer. Whether you can include YAML reference, include other YAML file. How can I include a YAML file inside another? Including YAML configuration files inside another. Whoa, includes. Oh my goodness. So is that specific to something here, or let's have a look at the Stack Overflow answer. Oh, that's good. This one says, oh yeah, just use, well, I'm interpreting this as just use includes. So this might be specific to something that processes this YAML. Maybe it's not a native YAML thing. No, YAML does not include any kind of import or include statement, and that has been upvoted 377 times. So I'm guessing that's more likely to the answer, right? How to include another YAML file as a global base on a YAML file Ruby? Okay, no, that's not YAML. I think the answer is, for the question we're asking ourselves, Andrew, there isn't an include, but you can refer to other things, right? I think there's an example somewhere, isn't there? Now, where was it? What else have I been doing with YAML recently? And I'm referring to, anyway, it'll come to me. It'll come to me. So yes, deploy individually and then the concat. Andrew is asking, what have I done to my leg? On Saturday, I was walking along some decking, raised decking about 2 foot off the ground, and one of the planks was rotten, and I went straight through it. But then, with my leg in it, my lower leg in the hole, I fell over to my side and off the side of the decking. So I really badly damaged my leg. Not broken, but it might as well be. No. So something to explore later. Yes, exactly. Something to explore later. The YAML thing, not my leg. Okay, so let's do them individually. Individually. What's that one there? Let's get rid of that. We don't need that. And yeah, let's do it there. Right, so if we say, what should we do first? In fact, why don't we do this? kubectl get deployments. Come on. Oh, deployments. Watch. This is quite a nice thing, isn't it? And then we'll say here, kubectl apply, and the file to apply is kube deployment. Okay, and the only thing that's in there is this one here, k deployment. It's that. Okay. So there we go. So we get an extra bit of information here, brain, but there's no more updates. Okay, ready, up to date, available, 0 on the brain. If we say kube get deployments, brain. So let's have a look at the detail here as well. What can we see? Deployments, error. Okay, why is there an error? Let's have a look. Replica sets, error there as well. Pods, there we go. Now, this is sort of related to your question, Andrew, about includes and everything. And as you know, as we were going through the deployment.yaml content, we deliberately sort of said, we're not going to do anything with the config map. But clearly, this isn't the issue that Barak was having, because we didn't see this error. We've fallen at the first hurdle here. If we have a look, get pods, create container, config error. So we've not even got to the point where the container has been created and the app has been started and fallen over. And that's because config map, app config map not found. Now, what's that mean? That means that this thing here is not found. What is this config map? This config map, if we go to the documentation, create and deploy config map. Now, let's have a look what this is all about. Let's have a look in the K script. As you can see here, we've got this config map option. And the config map option is that. So let's go through this bit by bit. We check first of all whether we've got a default-env.json and abort if we don't. So maybe I'll remove that for now. Should we do that? Yeah, let's remove it. Oop. There. Oh, forgot to put that one there. Okay, let's remove that. Creating and deploying config map to Kubernetes. Now, what this does is go and grab the VCAP services node, let's call it, from the JSON inside of default-env.json, which we don't have. So flat, there we go, JQ -r raw, give me it without any double quotes and everything. Give me the value of the VCAP services, we covered this last week, remember? From the default-env.json, and that will contain, as a couple of you said earlier, I'm just scrolling up, to connect our services in SCP to service bindings. That's those VCAP services are the service bindings. Then it'll pipe that into another little classic Unix program that will do a translate of any new lines into spaces, so it'll just put it all on one line. And then all we do is we'll say, well, catenate everything up until the end of file marker here, EOF, doesn't matter what that is, together, and that will include the $JSON, the JSON that we've just determined here, the single line of VCAP services. What is this that we're catenating together? These are lines that look very much like the three individual YAML files that we've been playing with just now. This one is not kind deployment, kind service, or kind API rule, but this is kind config map, right? So basically we're creating on the fly some YAML that represents a config map YAML configuration, giving it the name app config cap, which is the thing that it's complaining about here, that it's not got, can't find app config, a config map called app config cap. And then applying that, okay? Apply -f, there's the file name, and dash traditionally it is used to represent not a file name, but the thing that comes in on standard in. And of course, we're catting that and piping the standard out and giving it a standard in to the kubectl command. So let's do that. In fact, why don't we say here as well? Let's not do that. Well, let's just comment that bit out. Okay. So if we now say configmap, well, let's just run that first of all. Yep, configmap cube k configmap. Okay, so we get an error creating and deploying configmap to K8s. JQ error, couldn't open file default-env.json, no such file.json because we haven't got one. So we've created a configmap definition called app-config-cap, where the value of the vcap services environment variable, effectively, is empty. That pipe there is YAML for, it's a multi-line string, this thing, and it starts on the next line. I'm going to see if we can actually deploy that. Let's go down here and comment this thing back in again, just that bit, so we deploy it. Configmap app-config-cap created. So now we've got, should have looked here, shouldn't before, configmap app-config-cap a few seconds ago. Right, and that, if we edit that, can we see that? There, vcap services is empty. Okay, this is the key part of the, well, as far as we and the consumer of this information is concerned, this is the key part of this data node where we supply vcap services. So let's go back to, what is it we're looking for? Deployments, brain, pods. Ooh. So 2 restarts. Oh, now then we get a different error. Okay, this is I do enjoy with you stumbling through the forest, through the jungle of errors. Right, learning from errors as hopefully the errors change. So the error now is pods. Where's the? There we go. Back off. 40 seconds, restarting failed container, brain pod, blah, 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 blah. Now, I wonder, what was the thing that, issues, what was the error that Barak got? Back off, restarting failed container. Okay, well, yeah. So why don't we have a look at the logs, right? So we've got here, kube control get pods crash loop back off. So kube control logs brain. That's it. We've gone straight to it. Barak, that's my error. That's my error. That's my error. That's your error. So there we go. So that that wasn't planned, by the way, but we learned together by causing errors and knowing that we're going to go wrong, but we're going to learn from that, right? Does that make sense? Oh, my leg is killing me. Ooh. Oh, there's a big lump. It's about twice the size of my other leg. Put it up again. Oh. There we go. Oh. Okay, so what has that taught us? That has taught us that because we haven't supplied to the cap app that's running in the container, that's based upon the image that we built in, what's that? You know what? I'm terrible at A, seeing what these emojis are, but B, when I see them, understanding what they are. Amputation? Maybe that's required. Yeah. So we've got the CAP app. It's starting up. Look, CDS, connect to DB SQLite, blah, blah, blah. The CAP app is running in the container. The container is running in the pod. The pod has a connection to this is connected to what's the term I'm looking for? Deployment. Yeah, the pod is getting its environment. Sorry, the container is getting its environment from a config map that's called app config cap. So whatever is in the data part, let's open up that as well, right? Let's open up the K, because that's where the definition is. Yeah, let's put that there. There we go, down there. Yeah, there we go. That config map ref on the left hand side, app config cap, is this thing here that I'm highlighting there. That data part of the config map is where the environment variables are defined. And this is like the equivalent of the default, what the default-env.json does when running either locally, well, yeah, when running locally, right? It provides the name and the value for each of the environment variables. So we've got the vcap services environment variable name, and we know that that's where the app is going to look for the credentials, but we deliberately don't have a default-env.json, and we ignore the error from JQ saying, I can't find that file. So we've deployed a config map. In fact, show contents of config map Kubernetes. Describe. There we go. Just give me a command. Give me a command. Describe. Describe secret? No, describe config map. Get config map. Describe config map. Can we do that? kubectl describe config map. Come on. Config map. App config cap. There we go. I'm guessing that we're not seeing the value of vcap services because vcap services doesn't have a value. The value is empty, right? But if it was there, we'd see that value as well. Because it's not a secret. It's not like supposed to be redacted from the command line if you show it. So why don't we try and fix this issue? So Burak says, yep, I understood also. Perfect. Okay, that's good. Are we all learning together? Because I am, right? So now why don't we redo that? Let's go up here. Let's just fix this up now. What's going on? Oh, sorry, I pressed the... I'm still using this keyboard with the... I've got three little, what do you call them? Bluetooth buttons. And sometimes my finger hits the Bluetooth button, says go on to another Bluetooth thing, so the connection disappears. So I'm back again now. It's like, what's going on? There we go. So now let's put this back in. And let's do it again, right? Let's do it again. In fact, what we'll do, I think, is, again, let's comment that bit out that pipes it to kubectl apply. Kconfig map. So it's now telling us no default-env.json. So let's generate that, okay? And we know how to generate one of those because ZCF we create a temporary app and we bind the app to the services, and then we grab the VCAP services from there. So let's do that. We've got that temp app for now. We'll say default-env temp app. Let's do this. I always like doing this. I don't know why. It's a bit of a kid. Watch ZCF apps, and also over here we'll say watch ZCF services, and then make that a little bit bigger. There we go. So we'll do that. There we go. So we've got temp app. It's bound to those 3 services. So we'll delete it first of all. There we go. It's gone. It's now recreated, and now we should see it just above my head, I think, being bound to those 3 services. Ooh, Helmut. By the way, DJ, at UI5Con, I heard that Fiori Tools has LSP language server protocol. I've suddenly forgotten what it means. Language server protocol. Yes, language server protocol support. Wow, that is cool. Wouldn't it be great to have Vim plugin for this? I think you wrote this plugin for CAP, didn't you? Yes, I did. Helmut, seriously, off topic. There is no such thing in these open working sessions as off topic. I mean, there's no such thing as off topic in Hands-on SAP Dev generally, right? But especially, everybody feel free to throw their thoughts in about anything and everything. Okay? So, not off topic at all. That is really nice, actually. Yeah, I'd like to start digging into the language server protocol again. So yes, I did write a little LSP plugin that uses ALE, the asynchronous linting engine, to connect to the CDS supplied, or CAP LSP. Anyway, yes. So there we go. So we've now got, hopefully, LTRA, look at the last one last, default-env.json. I think I did set... Yeah, just before this started, I set no wrap, so I can just say here, if I create another, terminal session, go across here, I can now default-env.json, look at that, and know that parts of the credentials are going to be chopped off, so I can show them. There we go. That's how nice is that? VCAP. So there is VCAP services. So that is this JSON that contains basically name-value pairs for things that will be environment variables. So there's the VCAP services there. And that's all that's in there. So, and what's in there, in fact, this is nice. If we look at using the fx command, which is a little bit like JQ, but fx has got a really nice mode which allows you to explore things. There, open, closed, woo, woo, right? We can see that all it is a map of 3 elements, one for each of the services that the temp app has been bound to. And those things have these credentials in them, right? Instance GUID, and there's the credentials there, in there. I'm not going to open it up, but there we go. So that's quite nice. So FX, have a look at FX. In fact, FX, JSON. That's right, Anton Medvedev. Let's just share that. Bam. Oh, did that? Oh, yes, of course. That didn't work because I think T-Life, my tokens run out. T-Refresh. Token refresh. There we go. So that should share, hopefully. Okay, so so far so good. What are we doing? Oh, it's 9:10 already. I think we've got used to this sort of more relaxed, longer session. Maybe I have a look at LSP this weekend. If I will, but if the weather's too good, I will report via Twitter. Please do, Helmut. Please do. That would be awesome. So where are we? We've got a default-env.json. So that now means that if we say k configmap now, and remember we've still commented out the bit that pipes that YAML into apply. There we go. That's that. So now let's get rid of that comment out thing. And why do we do a similar sort of thing, right? So if we say watch cube Oh no, let's use the cube watch, right? kubectl get pods watch crash loop back off, and what we'll do is we'll over here, I think we'll say no, not there. Well, maybe there we'll say kubectl get config maps. And now we'll say k config map. So there we see down there the app config is new, 14 minutes. Oh, maybe it's just replaced it, 14 minutes. Yeah, 14 days, 14 minutes. How weird is that? 14. And theoretically, no. Theoretically, we shouldn't. My brain says it would be nice if the container recognized that the config map had changed. However, I don't think that's the case. What we previously did 10-15 minutes ago. Thank you, Andrew. Good. I'm glad you're relaxed. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I hope other people are as well. I am. What we did a short while ago was to create the missing app config map generally. And then the pod said, oh, there it is. Thank you very much. I've got it. However, now the config map is there. I don't think the pod is recognizing that it's changed. So why don't we? So it's still in crash loop back off. Look, back off 5 minutes now. So it's exponential backing off thing. Restarts 7. So why don't we just kubectl delete pod, come on, pods brain, and let's see what happens, shall we? Let's bring that up a bit so we've got more space there. Right. Ooh, so we've deleted the brain that was HZX9C. Ooh. Terminating, pending, what's going on? Error. Ah, yes! So Burak, you're doing it in parallel. Brilliant. Double muscle. All my pods are running now. Excellent. That's good to know, Burak. So in fact, Burak, why don't would you like to make a comment on that issue and close it and refer to this live stream? Will you do that? Will you do that for us? That'll be awesome. Then we'll have a look at it in a second. So what's going on? Terminating. Brain 1. What? Pods. Brain. Show logs. Well, let's have a look at the logs here, right? Let's have a look at the logs here. Let's go here. I've got too many sessions, haven't I? Don't need that. Yeah, brain. Come on. That seems all right. Server listening on URL. What's going on? Are we just misinterpreting this thing here? kubectl get pods. Oh. Eventual consistency or eventual workingness. So it's working, which is not surprising because that's, we've put the vcap services in the config map. We've redeployed the config map. We've killed the pods so it'll get restarted because, of course, the deployment is still there. So the deployment is saying, I need some pods. So we delete the pods. So Kubernetes says, oh, I need to create some pods. So, okay. So this is yet again, I don't know what I'm doing. DJ's inexperience here. What I was doing was reading these here, or reading these statuses, but not paying attention to which of the pods these statuses were referring to. So the terminating status was, of course, relating to the HZX9C, which I said, yeah, terminate, delete. So actually, yeah, there we go. It had an error first of all, but it was fine. Now it's running. So we're good. That was pretty cool. So now, Helmut says, I have to admit that I'm working in parallel and cannot follow in detail, but I get some valuable information. Thank you, Helmut. Yeah, I mean, that's complete. You know, it's not about admitting it. I think I would do the same, right? It's like working in an office together, I think. And if we even learn the smallest bit of information from one another, I think it's worth it, right? So there we go. There we go, and there we go, there we go. Right, okay, so it's working. It's working. In fact, can we do a follow there? So now if we say, let's go into S4 event, emit one, what's going to happen? Oh, maybe I didn't set the brain level anyway. Did I not set the brain level? No, brain level 1 should still log it, shouldn't it? Oh, it's there. So there we go, yeah. So if I say emit, well, actually, what's going on here? Let's have a look at the API rules. Pick let's just take the top 10, right? A sales order top equals 10. Pick one we haven't seen before, i.e. or e.g. sales order 14. There we go. Sales order 14. Emit 14. There we go. Sales order 14. Oops. Sales order 14. Okay, so it's working. Cool. Now, is it work? You've already closed the issue. Oh, let's have a look. Let's have a look. Ah, brilliant. Where are we? Where are we? Where shall we go? I have no idea what's going on. Let's go to Chrome, actually. Let's open up another thing. And so TechEd 2020. Bum, bum, bum. LD. Oh, no issues open. Oh, look at that. KH. So what have we got here? Thank you, DJ, for all, guys. You can find the answer here. Ooh, excellent. Thank you, Barak. We got together on the live stream and showed and proved to ourselves by working through it together that Marius's what? Anyway, Marius's observation was spot on. There we go. Da, da, da. Ooh. There we go. Perfect. So we got no more issues. However, Andrew, you did say comparison to office work is good. You sit in front of your colleagues, hear what they talk about, and do your work some sort of pre-COVID feeling. Yes, pre-COVID feeling. Maybe I should call the next live stream like this, pre-COVID feeling. So, Andrew, are we still interested in doing the deployments again? Well, yeah, let's do the deployments again. Just for a change, or just for variation, let's go here and remove everything. So let's remove the API. Oh, hold on. API rule? Have we got? Oh, we haven't even got an API rule or a service for the brain. All we've done is done the deployment. Okay, so let's leave the config map. Right, there's the app config cap config map, and this time when we looked at it before, the vcap services was empty, wasn't it? So let's look at it. There we go. Vcap services. Bang, 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 bang. There we go. Perfect. So yeah, let's just delete the deployment. So kubectl delete deployment brain. So that's kubectl get pods watch. I should terminate, right? Terminating. So now we'll go into deployments, replica sets, pods. They're all gone. Right. So, terminating. Oh, I'm quite hungry already. I'm thinking, oh, just go and get something to eat, but I can't. So now, shall we deploy them one by one, Andrew? And then we'll deploy them, we'll concatenate them together and deploy them all at once. So why don't we say kubectl apply -f k. Let's deploy it sort of backwards. What did we cut? Where are we? Oh, what? Yeah. Oh, we're in the wrong directory, aren't we? Cap brain. We're going to deploy these k dash things. Kubectl deploy -f k dash API rule. Yeah. Oh, sorry, apply, not deploy. Apply. Okay, well, let's have a look at things one by one. API rule. There we go. There's the brain API thing. It's pointing to the brain service. Such service doesn't exist. Such service doesn't exist. Interesting. But it's sort of true, right? It doesn't exist. So if we go here, what's going to happen? Not found. Okay. So why don't we have service? Service.yaml. Service/brain created. So now if we go here, there's the service. If we go there, we still get a 404, not found, because, I'm guessing, because we haven't got anything behind that service. So now let's go back. Let's get rid of that one and that one and that one and that one and that one. Let's go back to the API rules. We don't have any brain deployments or replica sets or pods. So now get pods watch. kubectl apply deployment. And remember, that's a small file. That's just this one. Go. So now we've got that JG4FN pod initializing. I wonder what that error is. But it seems to sort itself out, doesn't it? Come on, come on, come on. Ooh, crash loop back off. It really is. What? It really is. Is it? What? Let's have a look. Deployments, pods. Why is it crashing? Why do you think it's crashing? Logs. Brain. What is it? There we go, that one there. Seems all right again. So the logs are telling me that it's okay. Brain level set to 1. What are we missing here? What are we missing here? Mind you, I'm still not used to looking at this. So if I say get pods like that, yeah, there we go. Eventual consistency, or that's not the right phrase, is it? Not eventual consistency, eventual workingness. So I've no idea why it restarts 2 times. Maybe we'll look into that next time. However, that's working. So we've applied the deployments YAML, we've applied the API rule YAML, and we've deployed the service YAML all separately. That all works fine. So in fact, if we kubectl, in fact, let's do it from here so we can see what's going on. Let's just refresh that. Let's have 2 restarts, but it's running. Let's go back to the API rules. Let's delete that one. Yes. And let's go back to the services. Let's delete that one as well. Where is it? There. Services. Yes. Let's delete that deployment. Delete. Yes. Do you really want to delete your brain? Yes. So there we go. No services, no API rules, no deployments, no replica sets, no pods from the brain perspective. Oh, hold on. Waiting. What? I guess they're going to be deleted soon, right? The console did say it was, yes, the console said it was running. It was my inability to properly interpret the watch version of get pods. So now if we say get pods, it's gone. So now, Andrew, let me know. I think what you're thinking of is, well, basically the equivalent of the large original deployment file. So the equivalent of K original. Sounds like some sort of Korean pop band, doesn't it? K original. All together. And the equivalent of that, we can just say cat K deployment, K services, K API. So we get the deployment bit, we get the services bit, we get the API rule bit. Okay. So we could do that, right? So we could do that. And then say kubectl apply, and the file is from standard in. Let's try that, shall we? There we go. So 3 things get created at once. Deployment, brain, service, brain, API rule, brain. And because we've still got kubectl get config maps, because we've still got that app config cap, should be okay. Interestingly, I've just noticed the data column. So the app config cap only has 1 item in the data, that's the vcap services, but the app config, that belongs to, if I remember rightly, that belongs to the S4 mock thing. S4 mock. Yeah, there we go. That relates to the sandbox, because the sandbox needs the, in fact, let's go there. cd s4 sandbox deployment.yaml. The sandbox needs 2 pieces of data: API key, which is the API hub, SAP's API hub's special key, personal key, and destinations, which is in lowercase, right? That's why somewhere, yeah, there, it says data 2. 2 things in the data. So I've just noticed, sorry, Barak, I have to refresh my secrets. Which secrets are those? The secrets for accessing the GitHub Docker package registry, because those are the only secrets we're using. That reminds me, actually, Barak, let's have a look at Marius's pull request, because that's to do with the new beta container registry, where we theoretically don't need any secrets. Should we try that? What time is it? 9:29. Yeah, half an hour left. I mean, not that I've got a dead stop at 10 after 2 hours, but I think, we'll keep going. So that is what I was thinking about, partly because it's clearer to my brain, but no, I didn't have the Korean pop band association That's just my stupid brain. Rather, there are associations to a breakfast cereal. Yes, it is quite special. So there we go. Now. Yeah, let's have a look at this thing here. Change default images. Andrew says, with multiple files, even with the cat, you need to attend the sequence. I don't think you do. What sequence did I do it in? I did it cat. Let's just highlight that up there. Deployment service API rule. I could just as easily have done it the other way. Because of this eventual consistency, right? It'll say, oh yeah, oh, try again, try. Oh, there we go. Yeah, good. Which I think is quite an interesting concept, right? We could try it, right? So we've got, let's just make sure everything's there. Let's get rid of the deployment again. Yeah, there we go. Calc service, no, brain. Get rid of the brain. Delete. Yes. Get rid of the service. Not that one. That one. Delete. Get rid of the API rules. Now, if I were to say over here, cat, which one should we do first? K API rules. I'm in the wrong directory again. Cat K API rules, K service, K deployment. Like that. Eventual consistency, yes, exactly. Like that, that should still helps if I put the actual command. So obviously the log messages output from the kubectl invocation are in the order that it's read the contents, it's read the kinds from the input. But basically, there it is, back again. Pods, back again. So we're good. Have we learned anything? I think we have, haven't we? We're certainly more confident with what we're doing generally in Kyma on the business technology platform. So let's have a look. Well, I'm more confident anyway. Let me know if you are. Let's have a look at this pull request. Change default images. iObit requested your review on this pull request. So first of all, in public, I apologize to not only to Burak, but also to Marius. I always want to call Marius Ian, because I always think iObit, Ian Obit. Why is it I? But of course, that's a reference, I think to, is it Objective-C, where lots of interfaces are named using that naming convention? I don't know. So let's have a look. Files changed. Oh, in fact, let's do it properly. Let's read this RTFC, read the comment. The default images are now consumable publicly, as discussed last week. I didn't change the content of the README files, as this would probably require a larger recode of the content, script, and GitHub actions. Fine. Change default images. Thanks, Marius. I will check this out tomorrow, May the 11th. Oops. So what has Marius changed? So in the cap brain deployment, the file we were just looking at and the file that we split out, that pleases me. What specifically pleases you, Andrew? Sorry, I missed the context of what I was saying or what we were looking at together when you said that. So tell me. So we've got a check. Now, there's a lot of changes here to do with white space, isn't there? So Marius has edited this and changed the name of the image or the pattern, right? From, and this is the important thing, from docker.pkg.github.com, which is GitHub's package registry for all sorts of different types of packages, one type of which is a Docker container. But there are also, it also has support for NuGet, for NPM, for other things as well. So it's changing that to ghcr.io. Now, .io is quite a trendy sort of, top level domain thing. And it seems to be used quite a lot in this area. Aren't there other package registries or container registries ending in .io? Are there? Maybe. But this is the GitHub container registry. I think they're using the word container rather than Docker because it also supports a different type of container definition, this open container definition, something or other, open definition initiative or whatever. Anyway, the other thing to note here is that the pattern is not owner and repository and image name, but owner and image name. There's no slash there. Yes, Marius has decided to use the name of the repo as part of the name of the image, but the key thing here and the move from the package registry to the container registry also emphasizes the move away from having packages that are somehow connected to repositories. We want the containers to be sort of at the owner org level, basically. So that's that. However, I think what you can do here, hide white space changes just for now. Apply and reload, because we don't want to bother with the white space changes. So this is interesting. So yeah, that's much better, right? It's much better. But also I've noticed that possibly, I might be wrong here, but whatever editor settings are set in Marius's editor, it prefers to indent before starting a new map with a dash there in YAML. And my settings, this is our developer advocates' dirty laundry here. We have different preferences for YAML. There we go. That's life. So that's why these white space changes are there, right? That's cool. Java and TypeScript uses a lot of interfaces. Yes, they do. It pleases me that the sequence of the YAML files doesn't really matter due to the eventual consistency. Yes, it does. Yeah, it is a pleasing thing, isn't it, Andrew? Yes. Andrew says, Helmut, strong typing does have some advantages. Yes. Yeah, I thought I was going to be like a dynamic typing person forever, having discovered the power that you get from languages like Perl and Python. However, I do appreciate strong typing. I mean, I do appreciate the strong typing of Haskell, for example, but I also appreciate the lack of strong typing in another functional language, Clojure. Anyway, which I haven't programmed in for a long time. Anyway, so Santiago, one question. Is it mandatory to refresh the kube config, or is there a way to log in? Santiago, so you may have missed last week. Can't remember. I haven't been using that today because I was messing. I just wanted to check a script. So you can use a service user. If you look at the live stream from last week, let's go there. If you look at this one, let's just share that. Oh, no, that didn't share, did it? Let me just do that again, because it had an ampersand in it. If you have a look at that, and in the, where is it? In the description now, as of yesterday, here, we went through Marius, it's definitely the Marius show, Marius' tutorial, how to create a Kyma service account so that your credentials weren't expiring after every 8 hours. Okay, we're using a different authentication approach. So have a look at that, Santiago. And it's the second link, not the first link. So Helmut says as well, Andrew, of course, I was really happy when I heard Peter made it into a main topic of UI5Con. Exactly. It was a great conference. So that's that. So what are we doing here? We're getting rid of that, getting rid of that. There we go. Ooh, there's really accentuated getting rid of this slash here. So it's really showing us that a container name is not repo related anymore. Now, I think, where is it? I'm sure. Improve container support. That's it. That's this thing here. Documentation. There we go. I was looking at this when I saw Marius's pull request. So I think the final thing we should try, so that we can prove to ourselves that this is something we can definitely bind into the repository, to our developer keynote repository, is change it so that we push, once we've built these Docker images, and this let me just show you what I'm talking about. Q macro tech ed, right? This is the action that we're using to build and then publish the image, the Docker image, to currently the GitHub package registry. We're logging in, and then we're doing a Docker push. Instead, what it's telling us to do here where are we? Authenticating, building containment, actions, security hardening, no, we're not security hardening. Oh, here we go. Upgrading a workflow that accesses GHCR.io. Here we go. The container registry now supports GitHub token for easy and secure authentication into your workflows. If your workflow is using a personal access token, no, it's not, is it? It's using the GitHub token. Yes. Use that. What's this? Oh, maybe I'm reading the wrong thing. That's a lot of documentation. Publishing and installing a package with GitHub Actions. Upgrading the container registry. Use GitHub token with pat. Send your containers. What's this? Read. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's cool. That makes sense. It is amazing to see how UI5 has grown and evolved. Yeah. When did I first start looking at UI5? 2011, when it first started creeping out of the hallowed halls in Waldorf. It was version, I don't know. All right, where is it? Chrome, DJ Adams. I was working there. SAP UI5 Future. I wrote a post. No, it's not going to be there, is it? DJ Adams, Future, SAP UI5 development front end. I did have somewhere, see, the company I worked for at the time got swallowed up by another company and they got rid of all the blog posts. Oh well, never mind. So, where were we? Okay, yeah, so why don't we try, as the final thing, yeah, let's try and build it ourselves. Let's do a Docker login. I've got here, let's log in. Docker login. In fact, I've got here an access token, read packages, all packages. Here we go. So if I say basket hub.com q macro personal access tokens all packages. I'll be careful not to show that. I could delete the pat if it did, but packages, and pipe that in to Docker login password standard in username q macro to ghcr.io. Okay, passphrase. There we go. Login succeeded. If you're interested in this warning here, your password will be stored and encrypted in Docker config. I've been looking at credential helpers. More on that another time, though. Really nice set of facilities, which I've deliberately sort of undone so I could do them with you if you're interested. Helmut says, I was just on my way to Angular when I read about UI5, then I stopped working on Angular. Yeah. I mean, I think they are two very different, in a way, two very different front-end frameworks. You know, Angular, you have to do everything yourself, and it's very verbose. I love the declarative nature of the UI definition. I really do, you know, XML based. I wrote a blog post on my old ID on SAP community about, I compared the size of a JavaScript based UI definition, a JSON based UI definition, an HTML5 based UI definition, and an XML based definition, all within the UI5 context. And super surprising, the most succinct, the shortest definition was the XML. I mean, who would have thought that? XML being, you know, known for being very verbose, but actually it was the least verbose. Anyway, so we logged in, and I'm going to Docker, where are we? We've got the Docker file here. Let's build it. Docker context list. Let's just go small area. I'm connected to my what's it called here? My Docker for Mac. So why don't we say Docker? Oh, tell you what do we want to do? Let's have a look at this here. We want to tag it with. There we go. Yeah, let's just go here. Where's GHCR? Let's try that. Okay. Docker build -t that there. In fact, let's change this to Q macro. Is that what's going to happen? Shall we see what happens? We're going to build an image based upon the Docker file, which looks like that, right? Okay. SAP River, Mandal. Welcome, by the way, Mandal. Nice to see you. And yes, there was that's a lovely memory. Yeah. SAP River. Some really nice ideas in SAP River, which have, in my personal opinion, have sort of found their way into CAP in some ways. So, okay, we've got that. So let's have a look now. Let's get rid of that. We don't need that anymore. Docker image list. Wow, that's big. Let's make that smaller again just to see. There it is. Oops. ghcr.io, Q macro, developer keynote 2020, brain, latest, 19 seconds ago. So now we'll just push it. Let's see what happens. docker push, push. So we're now pushing the image that we have locally on this local macOS local Docker engine up to, hopefully, the GitHub container registry. Note again that the name, effectively, the association is not to a repository, it's to the owner, the Qmacro. And the long name there, all right, the long name has, in Marius's example, in his pull request, got the name of the repo, but we don't have to have the name of the repo. So let's see what happens. Push, 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 pushing, push. I guess the pushing is competing with my OBS streaming to YouTube. The bandwidth being used there. See, this is another time where I would like a biscuit now and a nice cup of coffee. I even had, maybe some of you saw it last week, I even, in preparation for these sort of longer open working sessions, I even had a button that said break, which was quite nice, I thought. It does look like a large image, Lars, doesn't it? What was it based on? What did we see? Node, from Node 12.18. Yeah, maybe we can get that, cut that down a bit, but there we go. We're almost there, aren't we? 492, 500. Let's see. What? It's gone up. What's going on? Ah, pushed. Right. What's going on now? Come on. Tell me. Okay. So now let's go to, not there. Let's go to the last one there. There we go. Oh, sorry. Let's just click instead. Getting too excited. Packages. Where do they appear? I don't even know where they appear. There. It's there. Yes, Lars. That's. Yeah, should we try Node Slim then, couldn't we? Yeah, exactly. But look, that is the thing we've just pushed. By default, it's private. However, and also notice that the little icon is not a Docker icon, but it's a container icon. I did note here somewhere, when you first publish a package, the default visibility is private. Okay, well, fair enough. Configure around packages, access control and visibility. Because I think the final thing we should do, read, write, admin, maybe I should have read this. But anyway, how do I change that? Let's change that, and I want to see if any of you can pull it. Let me go in there. Package settings. Add repository. What? I don't know what that means. Manage access. Change package visibility. Change visibility. There we go. Public. Please type developer keynote 2020 brain to confirm. There. I understand the consequences. I have no idea what I'm doing. It's now public, so let's go back. Okay. It now doesn't say private, so let's just get the URL. Let me share that with you. And somebody, please try. Yeah, Eliza, you're right. I mean, yeah, it does depend on what other stuff is needed, but we could try it, right? Somebody try this. Go there, grab that, do a Docker pull, and see, if you're using Docker, see if you can pull it. Let me know. But I think that should take us up to, gosh, yes, to the top of the hour. Is there anybody? Tell me in chat if you are about to attempt this, rather than me sort of wonder. I wonder if I could. If I go to open Chrome, go to oh yeah, tell you what, I think I've got a machine up there. Yeah, okay. I haven't authenticated at all with any GitHub container registry as this user on this machine, which is a machine in there. So let me try it as well. Hold on, Docker context list. Have I got Docker running on here? Okay, Docker image list. Oh yeah, okay. So I could say, have I got watch here? Docker image list. Interesting. Let's just try it. Let's just try it. Let's go, 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 go. Oh, hold on. Timo, bang. Docker pull. There. It does work. Lars is pulling. Thank you, Lars. Seems all right. Come on, come on, come on. Docker image list, Docker run, GHCR, IOQ macro, developer content, latest. It works. I mean, it fails because we don't have a default-env.json, which again adds another layer of understanding to what's going on in Kyma, because of course it gets that information from the default env, which is in the config map, which we supplied as well, right? Okay, so Lars, worked for me, downloaded, brilliant. Thank you, Lars, for confirming. So Helmut says, Santiago, I use my own solution that is much simpler than the solution the UI5 team realized, but also with my solution that was used in several projects and with a small team was successful. Have you tried creating SAP UI5 applications with TypeScript? Oh, I see. Yes. Yes, Helmut is, you've been looking at TypeScript a lot with UI5, haven't you? Yes. And Santiago, thanks for confirming as well. So Burak, DJ, last thing, when I go to my Kyma app API rules and open the brain component, I'm getting 501 errors when I click sales order item or anything. Okay. So in that case then, Burak, we're just about to finish. So why don't you log that as another issue, which gives us a brilliant excuse to learn more and have a look. So that's it. That's finish. We're going 2 hours. That's okay. I hope you had a nice time. I had a very nice time. Thank you for all your conversation. It's the conversation that makes it and keeps me going. So thank you for that. So yes, Burak, stick that in. I love your issues. Stick that in, and we'll look at that. It won't be next week because I'm away all next week on holiday. And also, even if I were here, it's the recap conference, so I probably won't be live streaming it anyway. So I'll see you all on this Hands-on SAP Dev show in 2 weeks' time. Thanks everyone for joining, and yeah, have a great Friday, have a great weekend. See you soon.